Legal Dictation Exercise 92 Start. A bare reading of the provision makes it clear that the prerequisite to exercise of jurisdiction by the Commissioner show motu is erroneous insofar as it is prejudicial to the interests of the revenue. Full stop. The Commissioner has to be satisfied with two conditions, and there can be no doubt that the provision cannot be invoked to correct each and every type of mistake or error committed by the assessing officer. Full stop. It is only when an order is erroneous that section will be attracted. Full stop. An incorrect assumption of facts or an incorrect application of law will satisfy the requirement of the order being erroneous. Full stop. The phrase prejudicial to the interests of the revenue is not an expression of art and is not defined in the Act. Full stop. Understood in its ordinary meaning, it is of wide import and is not confined to loss of tax. Full stop. Para. In this context, it must be regarded as involving a conception of acts or orders, which are subversive of the administration of revenue. Full stop. There must be some grievous error in the order passed by the income tax officer, which might set a bad trend or pattern for similar assessments, which on a board reckoning, the commissioner might think to be prejudicial to the interests of revenue administration. Full stop. In our view, this interpretation is too narrow to merit acceptance. Full stop. The scheme of the Act is to levy and collect tax in accordance with the provisions of the Act, and this task is entrusted to the revenue. Full stop. If due to an erroneous order of the income tax officer, the revenue is losing tax lawfully payable by a person, it will certainly be prejudicial to the interests of the revenue. Full stop. The phrase prejudicial to the interests of the revenue has to be read in conjunction with an erroneous order passed by the assessing officer. Full stop. Every loss of revenue as a consequence of an order of assessing officer cannot be treated as prejudicial to the interests of the revenue, for example, when an income tax officer adopted one of the courses permissible in law and it has resulted in loss of revenue, or whether two views are possible and in the income tax officer has taken one view with which the commissioner does not agree, it cannot be treated as an erroneous order prejudicial to the interests of the revenue unless the view taken by the income tax officer is unsustainable in law. Full stop. It has been held by this court that were a sum not earned by a person is assessed as income in his hands on his so offering, the order passed by the assessing officer accepting the same as such will be erroneous and prejudicial to the interests of the revenue. Full stop. In the instant case, the commissioner noted that the income tax officer passed the order of nil assessment without application of mind. Full stop. Indeed, the High Court recorded the finding that the income tax officer failed to apply his mind to the case in all perspective and the order passed by him was erroneous. Full stop. Para. It appears that the resolution passed by the board of the appellant, company was not placed before the assessing officer. Full stop. Thus, there was no material to support the claim of the appellant that the said amount represented compensation for loss of agriculture income. Full stop. He accepted the entry in the statement of the account filed by the appellant in the absence of any support material and without making any inquiry. Full stop. On these facts, the conclusion that the order of the income tax officer was erroneous is irresistible. Full stop. We are, therefore, of the opinion that the High Court has rightly held that the exercise of the jurisdiction by the Commissioner under Section 263 under bracket 1 was justified. Full stop. The second contention has to be rejected in view of the finding of fact recorded by the High Court. Full stop. It was not shown at any stage of the proceedings, the amount in question was fixed or quantified as loss to agriculture income, and admittedly it is not so found by the tribunal. Full stop.